Welcome to the Protect Your Nest podcast, hosted by me, attorney Brandon Lawrence. Here, we're taking the mystery out of estate planning and probate with honest conversations that make complex topics easier to understand. Everything from wills, trusts, healthcare directives, and elder care planning. It's all about helping you make the informed choices for yourself and your loved ones. Let's talk it over. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Protect Your Nest podcast with me, Brandon Lawrence. It's good to be back with you. And we're here today to talk about a few more things maybe that we hadn't talked about before, and just give a brief overview of how this estate planning goes for you and what you can expect if you come in and talk to me. Well, basically, I was talking to a church group maybe about a week or two ago, and they had a few questions for me, and of course, and I was giving them some information, and they seemed to receive it pretty well. And I'm here today to give you the same type of information, what you can expect from estate planning. Now, say you have an estate worth, these days, 2026 is not hard, $2 million. But even if you have something around $200,000, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really make a difference. We'll take it for an even number, okay? You got an estate of $2 million, and you're coming in to see me. We'll get a hypothetical couple, Joe and Catherine, okay? Joe and Catherine come in to see me, and they've got an estate worth about $2 million, and they've got 4 children. So the first thing I'll do, before they come in to see me, they'll call me, somebody will refer them to me, something like that. And what I'll do is I send them out an intake, and then they fill out the intake, they give the information to me, and that'll give me an idea of what they want to do. Because a lot of people call and they say, "Hey, Brandon, I wanna have a will, or I want to have a trust." And I say, well, what do you want to put in? If it's a trust, what do you want to put in the trust? They say, I want to put my house in the trust. Do you own your house? And then it might be a pause, or they might pause and say, yeah, I do own my house. I said, okay, well, what do you want? What do you want that, if you put your house in a trust, it depends. It's a couple different, a few different techniques or tools that you can use as far as trusts go. And we've talked about this before: revocable, irrevocable trust, right? But say they come in and they say, hey, I want to, they fill out the intake, I talk to them, and then they either come in, or we do a Zoom call, which is effective these days. A Zoom call, or you come in. Now, either or is fine with me. So, but when they come in, the first thing that I get from them is, what's most important to you? What do you want to do, and what's most important to you? Do you want to protect? Do you want to make sure that you leave something to your spouse, your husband, or your wife? Do you want to leave something? If you've got minor children, do you want to leave it for your minor children? Do you want to make sure that you leave something for your adult children? And then, of course, every family and every situation is unique. So there's really no cookie cutter type of thing that you do, because every situation is, of course, its own, it's got its own unique take on it. I mean, even within your family, you have, your unique situations. So, I ask them what's most important to them. Then I say, do you want to make things easy? Like I said, do you want to make things easier for each other? Do you want to avoid probate? Do you want to leave something for your children a certain kind of way? Do you have things in place to make sure that your children are taken care of? So, and then also that, most people say, hey, I want to make sure, if we've got 2 million, I've got my million, and my wife has her million, I want to make sure that my wife gets, or my husband gets their million, from me, free and unobstructed. And that's fine. We can do that. All right. But now, like I said, you have certain situations. Say if you've got your minor children, right? And your wife is 30, 40 years old, and something happens to you or something happens to them, and you get remarried. Then you got a different set of circumstances. Do you want to protect your million from going to, I mean, let's just be blunt, your wife's new husband, or if it's your husband, your husband's new wife? Do you want to make sure that your children are protected and that they, get your million? And you can do that. That you could put in a trust. Those are things that you can do. And who do you want to make the who do you want to make the trustee of that trust? Those types of issues are issues that come up, and those are scenarios that you have to go through with people, because a lot of people don't, they just think, hey, I'm going to die and I want to leave this to my wife, and everything's going to take care of itself. And it very well could. But we all know things change while we're living, and things change especially after we die. So but also another thing, what you want to look at is what happens, say for instance, if your death is not instantaneous. Say for instance, if you have some health problems, right? You're incapacitated and you're not able to make financial decisions, you're not able to make medical decisions. Who do you want to make those medical decisions? Of course, we've got medical directives, you got power of attorneys and guardianships and things like that. But who do you want to handle your business affairs and your bank account, things like that? When you're incapacitated, you can't sign your name, you don't know what's going on, but you want to make sure that at least while you're here, that you're comfortable, you have enough money, and you've got the right type of care to be comfortable before you leave us or leave this earth. So those are things, while those are living will types of things, medical directives that you have to take in consideration, because everybody is not going to, you know, frankly, everybody's not going to get in a car accident and then die right away. Some people it might be a slow death. It might be a long-term illness that happens, and you'll still need care. You're still going to need money, and you still want to receive the best of care and have a quality of life while you're still here, and at that point, preserve some money if you can. And then that goes into, if you're going to have to need long-term care, go into a long-term care health facility, and then that may bring up a situation where we've got to plan to get you qualified perhaps for Medicaid in order to assist in paying for that long-term care, in order for you to keep the most amount of money that you can and pass it on to your spouse or pass it on to your children, whether they're minor children or adult children. These are all things that you have to that you want to take in consideration when you're talking to me. And these are things that I've planned for with other people, and I've got experience planning for with other people. And then that with that experience, I could pass that on to you to give you different scenarios, and perhaps put something in your head that you hadn't thought about before you came in to talk to me. That's what the purpose of sitting down with a professional and going through these things. So, of course, you got a lot of different vehicles to help you attain um, whatever goal that you'd like to reach. It's also, do you want, say for instance, if you've got minor children, okay? Do you want to leave all the money? Do you want your children to get all the money at once, even when they're once they reach, reach the age of majority, the age of adulthood? Do you want them to get all that money at once? Because we all know from experience and from stories that when you give young people money all at one time, they might not make the best decisions. Now, what you could do is, if you put that type of money in a trust, we're going back to the $1 million scenario with Joe and Catherine. You've got $1 million. Are you going to leave all your children 200 and excuse me $50,000 equally, or if you put the 2 million together, $500,000 equally? Or are you going to, how are you going to divide that up? You might want to do that. You might want to set some goals or set some timelines with the money. You'll get a certain amount of money when they're 18, a certain amount of money 21, 25. And then, of course, as your children grow older into adulthood, they get their family scenarios, situations change as they advance on in life. They have, they get married, they have children, those types of things. And do you want to protect, I guess, make that money that you leave them, do you want to make that divorce proof for them? And there are vehicles that you could use in order to try to do that. I mean, you can't control every situation, but what you want to do is control as much as you can, with the that's within your control. Like, say for this, I'll give you an example. I talked with a family, and they had 17-year-old child, and they said, we want to make this money so that we want to make it contingent on this child going to college. And you can do that, but what if the child doesn't want to go to college? What if they want to go to vocational school? Or what if they want to go and do hair and nails or something like that? Then that's, then that may be a problem. Or I would definitely I would definitely ward against having a kid making the money contingent on the kid going to a certain college, because that's kind of just out of the question. But these things come up, and that's why you come to me, because I can walk you through this process, and then and give you a bigger picture and say, hey, I might want to relinquish, pull back a little bit, and not put so many barriers on it. But at the same time, you may want to, you do probably want to set some type of boundaries as far as, leaving, because of course it is your money. But all these things, they come up. They come up in a meeting. They might not come up, and that's why they come up in a meeting eventually. And it might not be the first meeting, but really over the course of the time, when I'm talking with you about estate planning, whether it's planning for getting Medicaid eligible, or just a simple will, or some type of trust, or another vehicle as far as living will to assist you as you progress in life, it's important to have a couple. It's important to have a couple meetings, because we've got to get we've got to get to know each other, and I've got to get to know what you want and the goals that you want to accomplish. Um, and mainly my what I do is give people advice in things about Kentucky, because that's why I am, of course, and that's why I'm barred in DC, but I'm mostly practicing the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So just a couple cleanup things. I think we told you this before. Kentucky has an inheritance tax, but they do, which is usually about 4 to 16%. All right, that goes to that. It doesn't apply to your close family, like parents, spouses, your brothers and sisters, grandchildren, adopted children. They don't pay any inheritance tax, but it does go down like the second I guess that second tier of relation, like nephews, nieces, they've got an exemption. They've got $1,000 exemption. Kentucky does not have an estate tax. All right. And that's just some states do. Kentucky's not one of them. They don't have an estate tax, but they do have an inheritance tax. Okay. And that may or may not affect you. And just some other numbers. The federal, state, and gift tax exemption, okay, it increased this year. 2026, it increased to $15 million per individual and $30 million per couple, courtesy of the One Big Beautiful Bill. All right. So people thought that it was going to go down to $7 million, a decrease, but it actually went up to $15 million and $30 million per couple. And what I will also, just finally closing, these are important, obviously extremely important decisions in your life that you got to make. And you don't want to take them lightly, and you want to have somebody that's going to be there for you to assist you, to guide you, and and just give you some type of comfort, because we all need a little bit of help. And so the more experience that a person has, the better that the situation, obviously, that the situation can be. Because of course, like I said before, it's your money, and you want to do what you want with it, and you want to have people that are there that are going to make sure that your wishes are followed. And that's extremely important for everyone. And there's no amount of money that's too small to plan, to be able to plan for. Like I said, because it's not hard, with these days, with housing prices and retirement funds and things like that, it's not hard between a couple to accumulate $2 million. Okay, that's why these gift exemptions and tax exemptions and estate inheritance exemptions are so high, because, believe it or not, there are people out here walking around with $15 million in assets, and they're finding a way to protect their money. So if you've got a couple million, which is a lot, you need to try to protect your money, or whether it's a couple 100,000, like I said, or a few million. It's extremely important, because that's, as we know, with the prices of things right now, they're not getting any lower, and people that you leave behind, they're going to need some help. We've talked about a whole lot of things on previous episodes, so you can check those out on my website, lawyerforthecity.org. You can check them out on YouTube as well, and you can call me. My numbers should be on there. It was 502-424-3130. And you can contact me directly at help@lawyerforthecity.org. That's my email address. Or just direct message me on the website, through other social media outlets, like what is it? Can I say it? Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, they're already famous, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, you can always access me, and I'm always available. Of course, I'm the lawyer for the city, Brandon Lawrence. And this has been another episode of Protect Your Nest. And episode 5, is it 5? Episode 5, like I said, you can look back on other episodes and see about the things that we talked about, because a lot of these things I've gone in a little bit more in depth. Try to give you like a little bit of overview today, but as usual, protect your nest. Let's talk it over. That wraps up today's episode of the Protect Your Nest podcast with me, attorney Brandon Lawrence. I hope you picked up a few ideas to help you and your family plan with confidence. Be sure to like and follow so you won't miss our next conversation, where we'll continue exploring the topics that matter most for your family's future. Until next time, let's talk it over.